Every morning begins with a divergence. In identical bedrooms across the world, one person starts their day by hitting snooze and scrolling through a feed, while another is lacing up a pair of running shoes. We tend to attribute extreme success to a single lucky break, a rare genetic advantage, or a lone viral moment that changed a life overnight. But when we examine the consistent output of high achievers, we have to ask what actually separates their daily reality from the average majority. This graph illustrates macro compounding. Both paths start at the same origin, and for months the daily difference in their habits is invisible. But as microscopic improvements stack, the top line begins bending toward the top of the frame. A person's ultimate trajectory is rarely determined by a few dramatic events. It is built from the cumulative weight of the invisible, ordinary choices made during the first hour of the day. Fast forward a few hours, and both individuals step into the same modern workspace, an environment defined by digital interruptions and constant noise. High achievers protect their attention by removing environmental triggers. Rather than testing their willpower against a buzzing phone, they eliminate the distraction entirely, creating a workspace that defaults to deep focus. Even in a quiet room, everyone encounters action friction, the mental resistance that arrives when the initial novelty of a project is replaced by boredom or fatigue. Average performers often wait for a shift in their mood to overcome this friction. High achievers bypass the need for motivation by following mechanical systems. They treat the work as a non-negotiable appointment, where the outcome is determined by the schedule, not by how they feel in the moment. When raw talent is neutralized by a distracted environment, the ability to maintain disciplined focus becomes the primary differentiator in professional output. The divergence continues after the official workday ends. While one subject uses their off-clock hours to passively consume, the other treats that time as an opportunity for expansion. Continuous learning is a compounding asset. A foundational skill branches into advanced applications, creating an interconnected web of capability. Contrast this with an isolated node, the plateau of legacy knowledge. Without new inputs, skills remain fixed while the industry advances. In a shifting economy, the gap between those who update their skills and those who do not grows wider every day, making a refusal to learn a direct path to obsolescence. Eventually, both paths hit a significant stress test, a professional rejection or a failed project that impacts both individuals simultaneously. High performers separate their identity from the event. They process the failure as neutral, tactical feedback, extracting the data necessary to adjust their approach for the next attempt. Resilience requires a physical foundation. High achievers prioritize sleep and physical fitness because those habits maintain the biological energy needed to sustain efforts through repeated setbacks. While a setback might stop an unoptimized system, a healthy, disciplined system uses that same friction to identify weaknesses and adapt. If we move the timeline forward by several years, the results of these microscopic daily differences are finally visible on a macro scale. This chart reveals how a 1% daily advantage results in an output volume that is multiples higher than the baseline. The person who optimized their routines now operates at a level of efficiency that the other version cannot reach with the same amount of effort. The final results seen at the end of the timeline were built entirely from the accumulation of these invisible, unglamorous daily routines. For the person who has spent years in a cycle of distraction, the gap between these two lives can feel insurmountable. However, high achievement habits function as a set of repeatable protocols. These systems can be adopted immediately, regardless of a person's background or past performance. Change begins by collapsing the gap between intention and action. It starts with taking the first disciplined step into a new routine, prioritizing long-term growth over immediate comfort. Success is the predictable result of small, calculated habits repeated consistently. Your future is built by your daily routine.